All right, class is back. Passion beats perfectionism is the key message of this lecture. So let's talk about this in three different areas. So first and foremost, I think one of the biggest game changers in music, whether people like them, hate them, love them, support them, whatever it is Kanye West. Kanye always does these, he's known for doing these rants. He started out earlier in his career just throwing stuff out there. The George Bush situation with Katrina. Then you see his concerts where he'll just stop the music and just go on this like tangent. And what that does is it drove so many eyes on him, so much revenue came from, you don't know what to expect at one of his shows. His fan base, and then even people that weren't his fans were like, well, I want to witness this in person. We hear about the Kanye rants. I think he's one of the biggest artists that have shown like, I'm not perfect, I make my mistakes, whatever the case. He goes through his mental health things as of recently, but I'm talking about the old Kanye. I miss the old Kanye. That Kanye was just pure passion. He was just going based off of, this is what I'm excited about, music, I'm going to change how it sounds, I'm going to change the fashion a lot of rappers wear. And then he would go on these rants on stage at arenas, and people would all be, going crazy. So that was one of the biggest things I learned from him was like, okay, he's not a perfectionist at all. He's just 100% passionate, right? Whether we hate him or love him, that's kind of the one lesson we can get from him. Now, the second area I would say is TikTok. I think TikTok's big rise to fame during the pandemic and during that time was everyone is used to Instagram, where Instagram feels more like a business. It's kind of like when you post something, you look at the follower count. You're seeing how many of your friends like it. You're seeing how many of your friends comment on it. You're seeing if new people see it. It kind of sets itself up with the algorithm to feel like you have to present your best work with your best filters. And then if it doesn't hit, it's kind of like we go through this thing of like, well, should we delete it? Should we re-upload it at a different time? Now with TikTok's algorithm, it's way different, right? It's basically just, I'm throwing it out there. It's going to the world, right? Whoever is looking for what you're talking about, they're going to see it, right? Their algorithm's way different. So what I would say is that what made them so popular is people just got on the camera and started talking, started dancing, started doing stuff, and they didn't feel any judgment. It didn't feel like, well, what are my friends going to say? Because it went out to so many people, it didn't really matter what judgment you were getting. It was like people just could be authentic. I think that's why people fell in love with TikTok. Not only can they, have conversations, replying to comments, they also don't really have to be their dressed up professional self, right? They can kind of just roll over from bed and make a funny joke, and it goes to thousands of people. It can go viral, right? So I think that was one of the biggest ones. Lastly, I think one person I think motivated a lot of people with one of their speeches was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, I think, as an innovator, as what he was as an icon, as what he did with Apple, he was definitely way ahead of his time. But I think one of his biggest speeches at that college commencement was how raw it was. And he was like, you know what, this is your life. Don't waste it trying to live someone else's life. Live out your dreams. I think when that speech hit, and I've seen it go viral, so many things, Nipsey Hussle used it on one of his mixtapes and put it on one of the songs. I think the original marathon mixtape, right? And I think that speech was unfiltered, it was raw, it was just passion. And it was like almost aggressive if you read it off a piece of paper. But that hit way more than a perfectionist than saying, hey, here's what you're going to do when you finish college, and here's how your career is going to go, and you're going to want to build up the perfect credit, and here's how your family will go. So I think with those things, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is to not be a perfectionist. And when I teach my classes in the college campuses, I do have moments where I'll go on a rant. I'll go on a rant about AI. I'll go on a rant about social media. I'll go on a rant about e-commerce, but then I'll circle back and talk about the class lesson. But the students, and sometimes even other professors, have taken notes when I'm doing the rant, when it's just my passion speaking. So I hope that's a lesson that you could take with you and use that in, whether it's in your career or for my content creators, that they'll edit something 15,000 times. Tyler the Creator said it best. With his newest album, he said, I'm just throwing it out there. Sometimes it's just something I like, I'm putting it out there. So I hope that helps with while you chase your dream.